with me is a very special lady called Matish. If you are within the Nyanza circuit, of course you know this place. I've featured a lot already about the salon that she runs. She runs a beauty parlor, she runs a salon in Kisumu town. So she's going to give us her story, because I feel this is a very inspirational story that you just need to get from the horse's mouth, so that you know if you are in a very dire situation in your life and you're looking for something that you can do, it is possible to start from nowhere and rise as long as you put in the work, as long as you are ready to go the whole 9 years, so that you are able to achieve your goals. So without getting too much into the story, let Matish share her story with us. Matish, karibu.
Asante.
I started my salon business in the year 2018. I had some financial challenges in the year 2017. By then, my eldest daughter was only in class 7. I then went to a Facebook page and posted this problem that I had. My intention was to seek for financial help from well-wishers. I was trying to figure out what will become of my daughter, especially after her class 8. You know, personally, I fell out of class 7. I fell out of school in class 7 after giving birth to her. This means that I never sat for my KCSE exams. Somehow, I survived by doing household jobs and many other odd jobs. I also worked in a hotel. I remember I was being paid 70 shillings per day. At that time, my rent was 2,000 shillings in a month. You don't even mention about the food expenses. And I also had 2 other children, but at this time they were with their father, whom we had separated with. And so this Facebook post that I did in one of the popular groups in our town yielded me a cleaning job in a salon that was also operating as a kinyozi at that time. A kinyozi is a barber shop. And I also over time started working as a receptionist in an M-Pesa that was inside the salon. It was quite challenging balancing work with raising one of my children whom I stayed with, because most of the time we closed late. I remember one time I got back into the house and I found my daughter sleeping. She was deep asleep and the door was open. It was such a dark moment in my life, but I thank God that her life was spared. And so I worked diligently, saving small proceeds from the jobs and also tips from customers. You know, when you work in a salon, sometimes you get tips here and there. And I started saving. Over time, I had about 20,000 Kenyan shillings, which I used. I decided to go to Nairobi in Gikomba, and I used this money to buy some clothes that I will sell, especially on days that I was not working at the salon, when I was on my off duty. Unfortunately, when I came back, the owner of the business where I worked at the time terminated my work because her reasons were that I had not informed her before I left. And so that is how my work came to an end. But I'm thankful because at that point I felt like I had gathered a lot of experience. My experience came as a result of having worked as a receptionist in the said salon kinyozi, aside from working as a cleaner. And so I was the one who used to handle all the monies. I was able to learn how commissions were distributed between the owner of the salon and the workers. And so I felt like I had gathered a lot of experience, and I felt like I could manage a salon on my own. So I thought I could open such a business, even though not at the same level yet, but I thought I could. And so I shared this idea with a friend of mine whom we had been with at that time for quite a long while. And he believed in me. He believed in this idea that I had enough experience to start a business. And so he asked me to accompany him to his father, and we went. So I also explained the idea to the father, and he was kind enough. He gave me 20,000 Kenyan shillings. And let me tell you the truth, I was overjoyed. This money felt like I had just been given 1 million Kenyan shillings. I could not believe it. I went right ahead to the market where I was targeting to put up my salon, and I paid rent and deposit of 3,000 shillings Kenyan each. So you realize that is 6,000 Kenyan shillings already out of the 20,000. And then the mother was kind enough. She also gave me some plastic chairs to start with. I owe this business to them. Without them, I will not be where I am today. And so with the remaining money, I also bought a UV machine that costed me 5,000 Kenyan shillings. You know, a UV machine for the nails. And then I also bought a base coat. I bought primer and a top coat. And then I remember I bought 3 shades of gel, the same colors that I thought women liked at that time. And there I started the business. What I did is that I started posting these things on social media. I could download images of pretty women nails that had been nicely done with special art on them, and then I would post them actively on my social media pages. I would post them in the women groups that were in existence on Facebook at that time. What I made sure happened is that every time a client came, especially out of reading these posts on social media, I would make sure that the print they wanted on their nails or the patterns that they wanted was similar to what I had downloaded and posted on social media, at least up to 80% of the time. So this made them have faith in me and they kept coming. And you also notice that at that time social media marketing was not as commonly used as it is now. So that gave me an edge over most of the people that were already in the market doing similar things. And then you can call this fate or karma or good luck, or I don't know what you can call this, because out of nowhere, as I kept posting my work on social media, I one day received a call from someone who told me she wanted to seek a position to work in my salon as someone who does braids. At that time, it was common for women to plait this kind of lines called Abuja lines. Other people call it Obama. And so I welcomed her and she came. Then there was a cousin of mine at the salon. We had the lady try out her expertise on my cousin's hair, and she braided so well. Then I took this image to the social media platform that I used at that time, and all people wanted to know where the salon is located, and they kept coming. It was a game changer for my business. From that time, clients came coming and coming and coming. It was something that I could not even believe. Clients would flock my salon with that hairstyle on their phones, and they wanted it exactly done that way on their heads. And it was at this point that I upgraded my business from a nail parlor only to a nail parlor kama salon business. I also had to look for ladies who were good at their work, so that I had someone handling braids, I had another one handling weaves, and I was handling the nail decorations myself. I have also over time hired ladies who left my business and went to open their own business, some of whom are doing very well. Sometimes we will experience challenges. A client or two will come, they get plated, and then go on to social media to express their displeasure. This is one challenge that anyone who wants to market their business on social media platforms should expect. But most of the time, the reviews were good, and these reviews brought in more customers. I also learned over time to quickly apologize in instances where clients would express their displeasure on these platforms, and I even extended an olive branch most of the time, so that I would welcome them back to the salon to have their hair redone at no cost. Sometimes I even did their nails for free. I can say that it was around this time that I experienced a turning point in my business. In 2019, the year 2019, a friend of mine who was working in a similar business set up in town was relocating to a different town. And so she invited me if I was interested to buy off the business premise because she has a good flow of customers. And I remembered I considered this because I also wanted to grow my business. And aside from that, where I was operating for was in a market center that was usually very muddy. It was very muddy when it rained. If you've been in Kibuye Market in Kisumu, you'll know this previously before it was reconstructed to what is there today. Aside from that, there was no parking area, and most of the clients that had started coming to my salon at that time wanted somewhere safe to park their vehicles. And so this means that they had to park their vehicles quite away from the salon, and it was quite cumbersome for some of them who had come with children, for example, or if someone wanted to go back to the vehicle to pick something. So these are the factors I considered, and I decided to risk and take the business in the new premise. It had also come as a shock to me because I now realized that I could make money. Initially, I was being paid 6,000 shillings per month, where I used to work in the salon cum barber shop. And right now, here I was able to make 4,000 shillings after deducting expenditures and of course paying the ladies who I worked with. So I could not even believe it. But now I had to take a risk because I realized that I could make money.
Nikifanya salon siku yangu ya kwanza nilifanya 4,000 karibu nikimbie kisha. Yaani akili yangu ilichizi. Nikasema 4,000 in a day. See after 5 months nitakuwa nimejenga nyumba ya 4,000 in a day. Kumbe nilikuwa nimelala talent.
At this point you realize that I had been chatting with Matish for quite long. And you also realize that I had to translate this video into English because we were doing the interview in Kiswahili. Having mentioned the previous location as a challenge to her in terms of the muddiness, especially when it rained, and also distance off the road, I decided to ask her again which other challenges she's experienced in her business so far. And this is what she had to say. Business is good, yes. I cannot complain about business. In fact, 80% of my family members are in business. And aside from that, some of our children are also getting into business, but we are educating them. We are taking them to school so that they can learn. Because business itself has challenges. Like previously, in the recent past, I was constructing my house and I got into a lot of debts. And at some point, I was even arrested for the same. You will not want that for your children. You will not want that for your children. So that is why we are ensuring that they go to school and they get the best. You also realize that myself, I did not have a chance to complete my education. And even when I'm interacting with my friends, sometimes some of them are learned and they get into deep conversations in English and you may not really get what they're saying, So through my children, I'll be able to experience that and also know how it feels. But then, of course, there's this basic communication of hi, which you can talk with your friends. But there are a lot of opportunities that I feel like I could have snatched very well if I had gone to school up to a certain level. There are also opportunities to go abroad and do a similar business that I'm doing, but I cannot do that because, of course, I do not have the papers. And also, when you want to go there, you'll be asked, how are you going to communicate with these people if all the population speaks in English? Also in my salon, I get, once in a while, I get whites who speak in English and I cannot converse with them very well. So mine is just to hand them over to some of my relatives who are here. I work with my sister's son who has done procurement and most of the time I hand over these clients to them. So mine is just to show them the images on my phone and just probably give a quotation and that is it. But the good thing is that my friends know how to handle me because I have friends who are literate, friends who are highly learned, and they know how well they handle me. And that is not something that I can complain about.
4,000 increases. So,
but haikuzuii kufanya kazi yako.
first
Si umegundua mbinu zenye unatumia kufanya.
Unajua first kuna watu wengine umesoma au hujasoma na unaibika. First time you have to be proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Ambia marafiki zako mimi sijasoma.
Hiyo line tu but achievements zako ni mingi.
No, badala ya kudanganya watu eti mimi nimesoma, rafiki hapa atakuita kazi na so just be proud of yourself.
Sure.
But once umekubali tu hiyo